Hello, I'm the Who Guy and welcome back to a very special video where today we're taking a look at two of the brand new Doctor Who Barbies made by Mattel. So we're going to go through the packaging as well as, of course, the figures themselves and just look at the amazing detail that are on these two awesome Barbies. You can grab these in a load of places in the UK. Amazon, Mattel Creations, Forbidden Planet, Argos. The prices fluctuate though, so I can't give you a detailed price on these. They can retail from about £55 all the way to £80. So just depending on where you look will be the price for these guys. So now let's take a closer look at these awesome Barbies. So here they are in their absolutely amazing packaging. Both of these Barbies look absolutely fantastic. I love the white aesthetic that they've gone with the basic banner on the front. It really does match the interior of the shooty TARDIS and I think it looks amazing. Hence why I bought two of these figures. I think the packaging on these are absolutely amazing. They're very similar, of course, just changing the title of the Barbie set, which of course is a Ruby Sunday and 15th Doctor. And you get the Barbie signature logo and the Mattel logos also present on the front. But I just absolutely love how they are presented in this TARDIS box. Then when turning to the side of the box, you do get the Doctor Who logo present, as well as both of the characters on each side of the box. Each side has both Ruby Sunday and the Doctor on, so both figures do feature both characters on their box. And on the back of the box, you get this lovely imagery of Ruby Sunday and the Doctor inside of the TARDIS. This looks really cool and gives you a nice outer box feel for the figures with a little description at the bottom of each Barbie. So overall, the packaging of these figures are amazing. And then when comparing those figures to the Jodie Whittaker packaging, I'm not sure which one's my favourite because I love the kind of poster art of the Jodie one, but I love these TARDIS interior ones they've gone with this time. So let's get these two awesome figures out of the packaging. Inside the packaging, you get these two little bits at the back, which are your stands, because these figures don't really stand well without the stand. But you also do get a certificate of authenticity, and this is a really nice inclusion. I'm not sure if that Jodie Whittaker one came with one, just because I've never opened it. However, this time we get a nice authentic certificate, which is really nice to go well next to your figures. And of course, like I said, each of them comes with this awesome little base and a little clip there, as well as nicely hidden in the box, these two extra supports that are hidden inside the box. The bases are different in size, the Ruby Sunday being much smaller. And here is the Ruby Sunday certificate. Here are both figures out of their packaging and oh my word, do they look stunning, especially on those bases. They look really, really cool. Just one point of note, the bases are horrible to actually get the figures on them. They are just horrendously awkward, whether that's just my first time trying them out. I just had a real hard time trying to get the figures to stand up, but finally, as you can see, they are finally standing up and they do look pretty cool. Both of the bases are exactly the same kind of design, where it's just this black design with the see-through rod. But they do sit comfortably onto the figure once you have got them on. They are different sizes. Ruby's is much, much smaller. However, both of them do look pretty neat. As you can see, as a pair, they are going to look great on display. And something unique from Doctor Who that we haven't had too much merchandise from Barbie. Of course, we've got that 13th Doctor one and now these two to add to that collection. So let's take a detailed look at these awesome figures. So starting off with that shooty figure, it looks amazing. I'm absolutely in love with this figure. Starting off with the head, I think it looks really, really good. These Barbies are not supposed to look exactly like the actors. They're supposed to have kind of a Barbie and Ken spin-off to them, and I think the mashup here does work for Ncuti Gatwa with the painted eyes, eyebrows, you've got the moustache there and lips looking awesome, as well as the detailed hair, which of course isn't actually proper hair, it is just printed on, but I think it completely works for Ncuti Gatwa's haircut. And then you get into the good stuff, which is the costume, and I've got to say the fabric used here is absolutely amazing. The leather coat looks really, really cool, and just like the one Shooty wears in the show. There are certain things that are missing, such as pockets. I believe on the back of this costume you might have a belt. Apart from that, it does look really, really neat, and you've got all the kind of stitching that you would want in this awesome leather coat. And coming down to that, of course, awesome shirt that Shooty Gatwa does wear, that has been replicated absolutely wonderfully. Seems to be kind of a printed fabric. Does definitely work from, of course, the Church of Ruby Road this one is representing. And then coming down to the trousers, it looks amazing. Of course, they're just a standard blue trousers, but I think once again they have been represented nicely. And what I could say about all of the clothing in this figure is that it is not too baggy. Usually when these kind of figures are released, a lot of the clothing is baggy, it doesn't really fit right. I would say this Shooty figure looks pretty spot on. The coat, you could say, a bit big around the arms, but apart from that, I would say this Shooty figure is absolutely spot on with the clothing. Down to the shoes, as you can see, absolutely amazing detail. This has been sculpted just like the ones you see in the show. You get all the different colours and detailing here, and I think that's one of the best bits of this figure, is the detailing on the shoes is quite impressive. He is of course missing a accessory, which would have been nice if we got a sonic screwdriver. That would have really set off this figure really nicely. Unfortunately, not getting that in this Barbie release. And of course the necklace that he wears, which I find very confusing that he doesn't have the necklace on. I think that would have been a kind of staple to his costume design, and it not being present on this figure does look a bit off. So for articulation on this Shooty figure, of course you can rotate the head the full 360 as well as bend up and down. It's pretty much on a ball joint, so that is really nice to get articulation there. It also has loads of articulation in the arms, so you can kick out, you can move it, twist it, bend it at the elbows, twist at the wrist, all your kind of usual articulation there. There seems to be no ab crunch on this figure. It does seem to be like a standard Barbie figure. We get a kick at the leg, as you can see there, and it can do the splits if you really want to. We do get a bend at the knee. We'll stretch and bend the costume. The shoe does seem to be a separate piece here, so it looks like you might be able to remove that, but it does have loads of articulation on this. Of course, has a rock up and down, and you can swivel this shoe. So overall, articulation on this awesome figure is really cool, and you can get some really, really cool poses out of this awesome Shooty figure. And here is the awesome Ruby Sunday figure, and oh wow, this is just as impressive as the Doctor figure. Of course, once again, with the smaller base this time, but I've got to say, I absolutely love this figure. The hair looks absolutely amazing on this figure. It's your proper hair that Barbie dolls do have, and it looks absolutely amazing. Different strands that have been placed. It is quite solid, so you can kind of move it maybe with a brush or something, but I'm not really going to touch it that much because I'm not great at that kind of stuff. But of course, the costume has been represented lovely on this figure. The head, once again, has that kind of Barbie tinge to it, but it does look like Ruby Sunday as well. We do get the eyebrow slit that of course Millie Gibson does have, and we get the nice red jumper which is underneath, and again that is really tight to the body, so which is really nice. It's not baggy or anything like that, and the skirt looks amazing with the kind of tartan design. On the back it doesn't look that great because you kind of get the bit where it actually connects together with the velcro, so just keep that in mind. But from the front it does look pretty neat, and of course she has her fur leather jacket, and that has to be one of the most impressive things out of all of the figures. The way they've represented that is absolutely amazing. Plastic bits on it to clip it together just to make it fit around the body a bit nicer, and you get the belt detailing of course with the silver buckle, which is awesome as always. But that real fur design looks really cool on this figure. Her tights have been represented once again lovely on this figure. Also you can see on the leg really tight like they should be, and you can see the legs within, which is pretty neat because obviously you can't really see much of the body on the Shooty figure, but I think they've been represented really nicely. The stitching on the back isn't the neatest, but it does represent what she wore in the show, and her boots have been sculpted lovely here. Not much design needed in these though, because they are just kind of plain black boots, but represented once again very nicely. obviously, but just the whole figure, the whole aesthetic, the whole sizing as well, with the Doctor being taller than Ruby. And of course you got the sculpted hands just like Shruti had, and all of the sculpting on both of these figures are amazing. So I'm really impressed with both of these figures, and this Ruby Sunday is no exception. Of course there are the ugly bits where the costume does get put together, but apart from that, face on, it looks pretty neat. No accessories for her, no bag, no phone. Once again, would have been nice to get those added accessories. But for articulation on this Ruby Sunday figure, of course, you can look up and down and twist. Of course, the head and the kind of jacket will hinder that, but you get that same rotation that we had with Shruti. Of course, both of the figures are kind of hindered by their jackets. Also got that kind of kick out with the arm. It can go up and down, and it can bend at the elbow, and you get a full 360 on the wrist. But once again, is quite limited on what you can do with these figures just because of the clothing does hinder it. Shockingly, this one does have an ab crunch, so I'm not sure whether Shruti does, but this one definitely easier on the ab crunch. And like I was saying, the hands can do the full 360. The coat kind of does cover most of the hand, but it can do the full 360. Her legs can kick out, but the score is going to very much hinder that to pretty much nothing. And she has got loads of articulation on the knee because of the tights, the way that actually sticks to the figure. It pretty much doesn't hinder anything with the legs. And of course you get full rotation on the boot here. You don't get much of a ball joint on here. Maybe the feet inside the boot actually do, but for the boot itself, it doesn't have much articulation apart from a swivel. And just one little note with this Ruby Sunday figure, she does actually have this weird plastic piece on her chest. So removing that was pretty hard. You have to remove the jacket, remove the shirt. I finally got it off in the end, but it is quite a pain because then you have to put the clothes back on again. I'm not sure why it was there really, because I don't think clothing's really going to damage the figure. So it was a weird inclusion, especially that Shruti didn't have it. But overall, I'm really impressed with both of these Barbies, and they are going to be some real nice inclusions in my collection. So that is it for today's video. Make sure to smash that like button and comment down below which Barbie you prefer. I think out of the two, I think they are just as awesome as each other. Of course, I'm going to like the Doctor figure just because I prefer the Doctor to Ruby Sunday, but I actually think the Ruby Sunday figure might be better on this release. I just really love the clothing on her. I think they've replicated that fantastically, and of course the kind of missing accessories, especially a sonic screwdriver and the necklace for the 15th Doctor missing, is a bit of a shame. But for the price, I think they're a pretty nice little collectible, kind of in between one of those big chief expensive figures and the kind of character 12-inch figures I think they were. So it's this in-between collector's range, and I think, again, in box they're going to look amazing, and out of box they look just as cool. So thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe. I've been the Who Guy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
I have the doll.